Hello, everybody. Welcome. In this episode, I'm going to be going over what things I personally, this is my personal opinion, would suggest a dentist or a person wanting to become a dentist take either in college or just any courses outside of college to become a better dentist. Now, as always, I'm not a dentist. What I do have is many years of experience in the dental field, helping patients, figuring out what it was that got them into the situation, meaning what the dentist found, and how to get out of it. So without further ado, what my recommendations are to becoming a dentist, and what is it that you need to become a dentist. Obviously, to become a dentist, you have to go to school. You have to go to college. It is an 8-year college. It's very expensive. The same thing as any medical field, and there are certain things that I've noticed through many years that I've had in the dental field with dentists, and I've seen many different types of dentists. But there is one thing that is common with a dentist, and it's also just with doctors. And I've noticed, like, specifically like on YouTube, when I've seen different doctors talk and stuff, that they've tend to handle the one situation that doctors have in general, and that is communicating with people in a non-nomenclature way. So what does nomenclature mean? A nomenclature means it's just specific words that are used in a specific field. So, for example, an attorney has their own nomenclatures. A doctor has their own nomenclatures. A mechanic has their own nomenclature. An electrician has their own nomenclatures. A painter, an artist, a musician. Every profession in life has their own nomenclatures. It's not specific to doctors. So a lot of people of high intelligence or even low intelligence, even living in low poverty areas, speaking slang. Slang is its own nomenclature, and you as a doctor or any profession that has to do with dealing with people, it is very important to remember that, hey, this person does not know what I'm talking about if I use the nomenclature of my profession. So this is why I've had multiple success with people in the dental field, and specifically explaining to patients what it is that they have in a more common way, and using examples and stuff so they understand what it is that's going on. And when people understand, they're more open and available to do things for their betterment. So in the dental field, I've it's one of the things that I've noticed a lot. And again, not only dental, but I've seen doctors. Now, again, it's not every doctor, it's not every dentist. I have met exceptional dentists and doctors who are very good at explaining things to patients. And the funny thing is that normally these doctors that are like that tend to have successful businesses. So it just so happens it's very hand in hand. I've personally never seen a doctor who is that way and it's not been successful in business. So I highly suggest that it is probably the number one problem that I've noticed with doctors, and I'm not the only one. I've seen other doctors in YouTube that have addressed this. Saying, hey, it's very important to get your patients to understand, and and what can you do to handle this? Or in college, you have a lot of things you can take. You can maybe take psychology. There's a lot of socials courses that you can take on how to socialize with people, how to talk to people. In addition to that, your own personal life. Think about how you talk to your friends. Think about how you talk to your colleagues. No, not colleagues, because you don't want to use nomenclature, but think about how you talk to your friends afterwards. Obviously, you don't have to be, all as calm. You don't have to be as relaxed with patients because you still are a professional as you do with your friends. But if you talk to your friend, for example, and your friend has asked you a question, you try to explain it to them in a way that they could understand it, because you have the patience to do that. Implement that to every patient that you have. And they'll be grateful for that. So when it comes to, again, going back to that, you can take any class that you can find in college that has to do with how to socialize, how to communicate with people. You should take. Outside of that, there are thousands of programs that you can find online, on how to better communicate with people, how to better talk in a more common, in a more understanding way, how to be more comprehensive, how to have patience, because every individual is different, so you can't treat everybody the same. You know how to, how to not see somebody as a number or as a figure, and more as a person. Now, I personally never seen a course like that, but these are things that you should remember. Because again, as a doctor who owns their own practice, or even if you're an employee, if you're employed working at a practice, the success of that location and the amount of money that you can make are completely dependent on how you treat your patients. And the more patients you have, the more chances you have of getting bigger treatments, because when somebody trusts you and they feel that you understand them and that you actually do care about them, then they're more willing to want to work with you, and they're more willing and open to want to do the things that you suggest. Um, so, for example, if I have a patient and we have a lot of patients like this, that they're terrified of the dentist. The first thing when they walk in is, hey, I just want you to know I'm really scared. I'm really paranoid of the dentist. This is, I've hated going to the dentist, so on and so forth. And it's very understandable. I always tell the patients, I give them, I normally, the one thing I do when I talk to patients that are like that is I tell them, hey, many people that have bad experiences at the dentist most times have to do because they came into the dentist, they had pain. Unfortunately, the dentist, what they should have done, I don't know why they didn't do it, or maybe it was just an oversight, but they normally would prescribe you antibiotics, wait till the infection goes down, or they just maybe had a miscalculation. I don't know. But they could have waited until the infection goes down, come back a couple of days later, get an extraction done. Now you don't have the infection affecting you, and that way you don't go through that bad experience. And normally when I tell them that, they tend to understand, because I would say maybe like 60 or 70% of the time, that's exactly what happened to them. And then there are people that they've just been paranoid of the dentist. Maybe they see movies that talk bad about dentists when they were kids, and they're just like, oh, I don't want to go to the dentist. A lot of people talk bad about dentists, so they associate it with pain. And because of that, they don't want to go. And then the other thing that happens nowadays more than anything is that everybody self-diagnoses. And while it is great to have YouTube is a double-edged sword. So if I tell somebody you have to get implants, and then what they do is that they go on YouTube and look up implant procedures, and they see the blood and the drilling and the noise and the numbing, and they're just like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? And they come, or getting extractions or root canals and stuff, and so they associate this pain that's not going to be there, because they start thinking about, oh my God, how's that going to hurt me? And they associate that with themselves, and then they psych themselves out, and then they don't want to do the procedure anymore. So I tell them, look, it's not as bad as you think it is. It's like, yes, I'm like, don't look on YouTube. Yes, what you're looking at, yes, it looks horrible, but I can guarantee you that you're not going to feel anything, because you're going to be numbed up. The only pain that you should be feeling is just the initial needle that they put in when they numb you up. And then if you feel any pain and stuff, then you should tell your doctor, so that way they can put more Novocaine in if it is necessary. So, but for the most part, you're not going to feel anything. And people are like, oh, but I don't know. I'm like, trust me, you're not going to feel anything. And if you want, when you come to the front, you can punch me in the face if I'm lying to you. And they go, okay, great. They laugh. I have fun with them. They laugh. They get the procedure done. They come back and they go, oh my God, it's nothing from what I thought it was. I'm like, yeah, see, the YouTube is great for information, but don't do it when you have to get procedures done, and don't see what the doctors are doing, because then you're gonna be like, oh my God, they're gonna do that to me. I don't want to do that, and then you're gonna psych yourself out. I have people that get implants, and they get scared. I had one patient actually who came and she was like, I don't know if I want to do the implant, or I want to be knocked out. I want to be put to sleep for my implant. I'm like, why do you want to be put to sleep for the implant? Oh, because I saw a video and they did the drilling and stuff. And I'm like, well, and I took her and I said, look, let me explain something to you. An implant is about a third to a fourth of the size of a tooth, for the most part. There are implants that are a little bit bigger, but the way they sit in your mouth are completely different than what an actual tooth is. So when they drill, you're drilling something that's a lot smaller than a tooth. It's a lot easier to drill something in than it is to extract from your mouth, because you're pulling on a whole bunch of different things. So that's why the recovery period is a lot longer for when you're getting an extraction. But when you're placing an implant, there's no nerve, there's nothing, your jaw is not holding on for years onto the implant. This is something that we're putting in and you're being numbed up for. It's very quick, it's very simple, and for the most part, the recovery time is a lot faster. So it's not going to be remotely the same. Whatever experience you had with when you got an extraction, it's not going to be the same experience you're going to have when you get an implant. And again, implants are a lot smaller than your actual tooth. Obviously, it depends on what tooth we're talking about. Because if you're talking about a tooth in the front, then yeah, implants are probably potentially about the same exact size. But a molar, not even close to the same. So when I tell them that, they tend to relax and they go, okay, all right, I understand. Okay, I had something else in my head and so on and so forth and stuff. And I go, yeah, it's not like that. So going back to what you need to do to become a dentist, and what I personally suggest. Again, college, just a must. You definitely want to learn everything that you can about becoming a dentist, going to college, um, and becoming the best that you can be. But when you finish college, again, like I said before, one of the things that you should definitely look into is how to, how to communicate with people. If you're a person that's interested in owning your own dental practice eventually, then I would highly, 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 highly suggest minoring in business, because a dental practice is, while the dentist is important, the most important part after that is running the business administration, accounting, um, finances, so on and so forth. Things that all involve business. It's not just walking into the practice, working on teeth, have a good day, and then submitting it to the insurance. There's a lot more than that. Um, Sales, business, accounting, legal, yada yada, so on and so forth. How to hire people, human resources, all these things that are important, and they help you excel at running your business. Marketing, super important. If anything, outside of business administration, minoring, then I would suggest minoring in marketing, because you could be the best dentist in the world. If nobody knows where you are or who you are, then it doesn't mean anything to be the best. And the way you do that is having business skills and marketing skills. So these are things that you should also get if you're a dentist that's interested in going working on your own. Or even if you don't want to work on your own, unless you want to become an associate at another practice, you can definitely do that. These are still things that you should learn, and they're going to help you for the rest of your life. Especially nowadays, internet marketing specifically, super important. The internet is everything. It's a make or break. It's definitely not the same as it was before. So that's something else that I would suggest to go into in terms of helping you in the medical field. It is super important. And again, especially if you want to go into become a dentist by yourself. Dentistry is, for the most part, very expensive. A lot of people think that, when you become a doctor or a dentist in this case, oh, you're going to make a lot of money. You do, but you have big expenses, far more than the average profession that I've seen, honestly, in the many different careers that I've had. The amount of expenses is ridiculous, and it's nothing related to the overhead. A lot of it has to do with supplies, instruments, materials, and equipment. They're overly expensive, in my opinion. They're over cost, but that's just my opinion. So because of that, a lot of the things in the dental field, cost wise for patients, are expensive. So sometimes insurance is just not enough, and you have to you have to take patients who don't have insurance, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why they have a lot of different financial programs that you can take that to help patients make their payments, and get the work done, which is ultimately the most important thing. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything that I can think of right now off the top of my head that has to do with what you need to become a dentist, and what my suggestions are in terms of being a better dentist and being the best dentist you can be. And again, this is based on my personal experience on meeting other dentists, different types of dentists, and talking to them, and then also meeting a lot of other medical professionals in the field. So as always, flourish and prosper, and have a good day.